boo?
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Before we begin, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see every time I post. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, and anything you feel you want to add, leave it in the comment section down below. Okay, so I am recapping Lock and Key. This was a recommendation. So I like the first episode, so we're just gonna kind of see where this takes us. So we start with a man walking down the street. He's got groceries in hand. It's dark and he's headed to his house. And right as he puts his keys into the door, he gets a phone call. Now I thought this was gonna be like a setup for him to get like mugged or shot or something, but it wasn't. So he answers the phone and there's this lady on the other end and she's like, Rendell Locke has died. And he's like, what? How? And she was like, you know how? And I was like, hi, hello, it's me. I don't. Tell me something. Thank you. So he was like, okay, well, I know what I need to do. So he goes in the house and he starts rummaging through all his stuff to what sounded to me like some type of Batman soundtrack. And we see on the table he's got this blueprint of some sort, I don't know to what, and it's got keys all over it. There's also a photo on the table, and then in his good old National Treasure way, he pulls a photo off of the wall and there's a safe behind it. So I was like, okay. So he takes a key out and I'm like, okay, well this key must be like really, really important. He sits down and I'm like, okay, well what are we about to do? The man takes the key and pushes it into his chest, like close to his heart, and combusts into flames. And I'm like, what just happened? Not only did he combust into flames, the house combusted into flames and everything else in it. I was like, oh wow, okay. So this, like, it started off like crazy. I was like, okay, I need to know what is going on. Fast forward 3 months later, we've got Nina and her 3 kids in the car moving. She's got 3 kids. She's got Bo, who I will be calling Bode. She's got Kenzie, who I'll just be calling Kens, and then she's got Tyler, who we'll just call Tyler. They're in the car, and Bo, the youngest, obviously is bored, so he's like, okay, let's play a game. So he asked them in the car, if you had to lose one sense, what would it be? And so, like, no one's taking it seriously. But then Nina's like, oh, well, I wouldn't want to lose the sense of smell because it's tied to memory. This is where we get a flash and we see somebody painting, and then we see like blood splatter, and I'm like, okay. But she also lets us know that her and her husband were into real estate. I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't see the husband in the car. So I'm like, okay, where is the husband? And then I'm like, okay, well, was this Rendell? Like, I need to know. They pull into the town of Matheson and they pull up to an ice cream parlor, and they get out and they go in and everybody gets their ice cream, and there is the cashier guy working there whose name is Scott. Scott is low-key flirting with Ken, so I'm like, okay. And so when Nina gives him her card to pay for the ice cream, he looks at the card and he's like, oh, never mind, it's free of charge. So Ken's is like, oh, well, we don't need charity. And so then that's when I was like, okay, does that mean that like their dad died or something? Like, immediately I was like, okay, their dad is dead. After the ice cream parlor, they leave and they drive out to, of course, this big old house. It's out by itself. There are no neighbors in case anybody dies, so nobody will be a witness or hear anything. We love those settings. So apparently this is a house that their dad, I guess, has left to them. So this confirms that he's dead, he's gone. And right as like they get out, Ty's like, oh, this seems like he makes a joke about the house, like reminding him of like the Norman Bates house. And right when he says that, walks out their Uncle Duncan, who is, I don't know the actor's real name, but he played Dylan on Bates Motel. So I was like, oh, okay. So he walks out and he's like, oh, hey, you know, hope the drive was good. Hope y'all are okay. Welcome to Key House. And I was like, okay, Key House. All right. They go inside, and of course, from outside is exactly what you expect. Inside is just creepy. As soon as you step in, you've got doors that, you know, you wonder where they go to, and you've got paintings all over the wall that make no sense. Or you've got all this like historical things there, and then of course there's always a room in the house with all the family members painted up on the wall. They've done great things. They did this, they did that. So I was like, all right, this is already setting us up for the okie doke for somebody to be dead in like 0.3 seconds. We find out that Kenzie, which in my notes, I don't know why I kept calling her Kelsey, but we found out that Kenzie is a she's our artiste of the family. Duncan apparently is an artist as well, and so like we see like some of her artwork or whatever as, you know, we're getting to know everybody. Now we've got Ty, who is trying to sneak off to go smoke, which is apparently some type of habit that he's picked up recently. And so Kenzie comes out and she is, you know, just checking on them. They're talking about the fact, you know, that their dad has died. She's asking him if he's okay, and he's asking her if she's okay, and they're like, you know, yeah. And Tyler does say something about the fact that Kenzie better get used to like being known. So I'm assuming that like their family, the Locke family, is like a big deal in this town. So later on that night when Nina is packing, well, unpacking everything, she's putting things up, Kenz and Ty had taken a picture, you know, just to send it to the dad, even though he's gone, but still they sent it to his dad. And Nina has the phone, or their accounts. I didn't understand. I was like, is she keeping his phone? But why is she keeping his phone? I don't know. But anyways, this picture reminded her of something. So she has a flashback. So this is where we see the full thing. Okay, her and Rendell were at the house, and I guess they're renovating is what they're doing to the house. She's painting, and there's a knock at the door. In comes a kid named Sam, and Sam came to see Rendell, and Rendell's like, oh, well, we can discuss whatever you want to talk about on Monday at school. So I'm assuming like he was maybe like a guidance counselor or a teacher or something. And Sam is like, oh no, we're about to talk about it now. And he's like, Rendell's like, oh no, we'll do it on Monday. So Sam pulls out a gun, and he's like, well, how about now? So I was like, well, whatever it is that Sam wants to talk about, Rendell doesn't want to talk about it in front of Nina. So when he pulls out the gun, he's like, tell me everything that you know about Key House. And I was like, okay, well, what is going on with this house? So Rendell tells him, you know, like, whatever you think you do know, like, you don't understand, it's wrong. And he's like, we're not going to discuss it here. So when he just said that, Sam was like, we going to discuss something. So he shot Nina in the leg. I was like, oh, everybody about to be dead in the house. So he shot Nina in the leg. And right as he shot Nina, Tyler shows up, but he can't get in the house. So Rendell takes this as a time to like try to get the gun away from Sam, but Sam shoots him anyway, so he's officially dead. And I'm like, ooh, child. Come back to Nina. She's had her little flashback. She's looking all down and out, shook. Bo has decided now it's his turn to take, you know, his little adventures around outside of the house. And so he's taking pictures outside or whatever, and he happens upon what we're gonna call a well house, I guess. So because I guess Bo doesn't really like his life that much, he decides he's gonna lay half of his body over inside the well to take a picture. Well, when he takes the picture, it's one of those old cameras, you know, where you have to shake the Polaroid or whatever for it to develop. It falls into the well. So he's like, well, oh well, whatever. And like he turns his back for all of like 5 seconds, you know, just to look at the rest of this place. And when he turns back around, the picture is back on the ledge of the well. And I was like, oh no, baby, oh no, get out now. It's the picture, and he leans back. Oh Lord Jesus, somebody come get the child, somebody come get him. He leans back over into the well, and he starts talking into it, and he's like, hello, is anybody down there? Are you my echo? And then all of a sudden you hear this woman's voice, and she's like, yes, I am your echo. So he takes off. I would have took off too. Like, you, Back inside the house, Nina and Duncan are talking. And Nina is asking Duncan why him and Rendell never sold the house. So he's saying he wanted to sell it, but Rendell, of course, wouldn't let him sell the house. So he was like, you know, well, as soon as you like fix it up or whatever, you know, you guys can move. And Nina's like, well, oh no, you know, we'll fix it up, but we'll stay. And he's like, oh no, don't stay. Like, you need to do what you need to do and getting, because this ain't the place to be. And so she's looking at him like, what you mean, like, this ain't the place to be? But in runs Bo, and Bo's like, hey, there's a lady stuck in the well out there, like she was talking to me. So everybody goes outside. So they go down into the well, and they're looking. Nobody hears anything, so they're like, oh, you know, just stay from out here. It's unsafe. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. Let's all go back inside. And he's like, oh no, like, there really was a lady in the well. Like, I need y'all to believe me or whatever. Like, I'm telling the truth. They're like, you know, you know, it might just be it's a new environment and you're scared or whatever, you know, just, you know, pushing it off to the side, like, let's all go back in the house. Next morning for breakfast, Ty and Ken's are getting ready to go to school, which is, it's a boarding school. I didn't understand it, and we find out that Bo has like another week off before he has to go back to school. Duncan comes, and Duncan, as Ty and Ken's are leaving for school, Duncan comes and he's dropping off the keys. You can tell the way that he's dropping off these keys. He is ready to skit, scat, and skadoodle and get as far away from this house as possible. So he comes, he drops these keys off, and he's like, all right, peace out. Like, this is your problem. I don't want any more dealings with any of this. When Ty and Ken's get to school, of course, Kenzie's like, okay, well, I'll see you at lunch. And he's like, oh no, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, because Tyler is our athlete of the family. You know, he plays all the sports, he's into all the things. So he's like, no, you know, peace out, I'll see you later. I got tryouts today, you know, it's my first day of school, I'm trying to fit in and be a part of the cool crowd, like, bye. So I was like, okay, we're setting Kenzie up to be like the loner, the weird girl, all of that. Is that what we're doing? So while she's actually at her locker, you know, getting ready for her day, she overhears two girls saying that she shouldn't be getting special treatment just because her dad died. Like, it's no different, I guess, than any other death. I was like, all right, that's a little inconsiderate. I was like, okay, they set Kenzie up to be the loner girl. But wait, okay, so she's eating her lunch by herself, not even in the lunchroom, like off somewhere, and here comes the cashier guy, Scott, to save the day. And he's like, oh, I've been looking for you. Now, he was trying to swoop in and trying to be all smooth and cute, but he was talking too much and saying the wrong things. I was like, this is not the way to go about it, sir. So he was like, oh, you should come and hang out with me and my friends, and I think you're pretty cool. He was trying to tell her she was cute, but he couldn't get it out right, so it just didn't go over well. He's like, come hang out with us. Kenzie's like, she doesn't say no, but he's like, I'll just send you my address or whatever, and like, when you get ready, like, come find her. In the midst of him trying out for hockey, he has a flashback. I guess it's really haunting him, the fact that he couldn't save his dad. Like, he was there, he was on the outside of the house, but he couldn't get in because the doors were locked. So I can already tell that's going to be something that kind of plagues him. So two guys are like, hey, you know, you just got here, you seem to be really good in sports, so because you're a really good athlete, you're invited to this party tonight. So he's like, okay, I might come, whatever. Now, where the creepiness begins. Okay, so Bo is back at home living his best non-school life, and he skated through the house in Heelys. So I'm like, okay, well, what year is this? Because I don't think that's still a thing for kids to have Heelys. Like, okay. So anyway, Nina's like, oh, I'm going to the store, do you want to come with me? And he's like, no, I'm gonna stay at the house by myself. And I was like, nope, go with your mama, because you're about to, like, you might die. Go with your mama. I already know it's about to be some mess. So she leaves, and he's in the kitchen eating his Fruit Loops and watching his cartoons, and we start hearing whispering. I was like, oh Lord, the baby is by himself. So some reason for him, he's like, oh, I should go out to the well. I was like, what? So he goes out to the well, and he calls back down into the well, and the lady from down in the well starts talking back to him, and she's like, have you seen any keys around the house? Like, it's a great house. She tells him that he's special, and he should be the only one that'll be able to hear the whispers. That's how you know where the keys are. And she's like, she tells him that each key does something different. So, of course, to a young child, that sounds amazing. That sounds great. It doesn't sound scary, like this could be the end of your life. I'm pretty sure she's, like, playing on the fact that he's young and naive, because she's like, because just the way she was asking about these keys, like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? I was like, you a little thirsty for these keys, ma'am. So she tells him there's a key that he can find that'll take him anywhere. And I'm pretty sure this is her way of being like, okay, let me show you what this first key can do so I can get you to do whatever else it is I need you to do. So she's like, find this key, and this key will take you anywhere in the world that you want to be. So he's like, okay, you know, if I find it, and whatever. Of course, you know, there's that good old, don't tell nobody that you was out here talking to me. I don't want nobody to think you was crazy, but really, I don't want you to tell nobody, because I don't want nobody to know that I'm down here. So, I already know whatever she's trying to do, like, she's going to use him to get Bo actually does go back into the house, and Kenzie's there. She's just gotten home from school, and she's talking about how cold it is in the house, and she's ready to, like, get in the shower. She's freezing. And he's trying to tell her, like, hey, I was talking to the well lady. She said the keys can do this, but she wasn't trying to hear that. So she was like, I'm getting in the shower. So when Kenzie puts down she takes off her bracelet. And when she takes off her bracelet, Bo starts to hear whispers again, and he looks at her bracelet. Well, on her bracelet is a key, so he figures out how to get the key out of the bracelet. And he turns around, and at first he's like using it like, I don't know, a magic lamp or something. He's like, oh, please take me. I would like to get some ice cream. He's like, oh, just take me to get some ice cream. Well, that doesn't work. Well, he gets the bright idea. He shuts Kenzie's closet door. He sticks the key in. He turns it, and we hear all the noises and stuff. And when he opens the door, he's back in the ice cream parlor. So he goes in. At first, I'm like, oh, this is like his imagination. Like, he's not really there. Maybe it's like an illusion. But Scott gives him the ice cream, and I was like, well, is he about to give him the ice cream for free? I was like, if he gives him this ice cream for free, then I know it's not real. But then Scott's like, oh, that's $3. So he's like, okay, well, I'll be right back. So he walks back out the parlor door, which leads back into Kenzie's bedroom, and he's telling Kenzie, like, this is real, this is real. And she's upset because she's like, you broke my bracelet. Like, this is the bracelet that Dad gave me. Of course, this is something that you would want to keep, since it's one of probably the few things she has left of her dad. So she's upset about that. And Bo was like, no, well, how did I get this ice cream then if this isn't real? So he's like, well, let me show you. So she's like, okay, take me to Paris, to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And he was like, okay, I'll take you to the Eiffel Tower. So he goes and he turns the key and he opens the door and nothing. Of course, we just see pure closet. So she's like, okay, get up out my room. Don't touch no more of my stuff or we gonna have some issues. So, Nina is going through Rendell's stuff. You know, just kind of having like a moment to herself. And she finds the same picture of a group of people that was on the guy's table in the very beginning that combusted into flames. So while she's going through his stuff, Kelsey comes in and Kelsey's like, hey, Bo was in my room. He broke my bracelet. Like, tell him to stay about my stuff or we have some problems. And her mom was like, okay. But in this same conversation, Kenzie's like, why did we even move out here? We could have just stayed where we were. But Nina's like, no, we needed a fresh start. I didn't think we could get it there. And then she's also like, you know, are you making friends at school? And Kelsey's like, maybe, not really. She was like, I see, you know, Ty's out making friends, so maybe you should do the same. And just as they're having this conversation, Kenzie gets a text from Scott, like, you know, just come hang out with us, you know, just to get to know somebody. Bo is in the kitchen and Bo finds another key, but Bo finds this key by sticking his hand down the sink drain. And at first, I thought this was the garbage disposal. I was like, it's about to miraculously come on and chop this boy's arm off. I was like, get your hand up out of there. This key, and he runs out to the well. He's like, hey, I found another key. Like, what does this key do? And she tells him, this key will let you see anybody that has died. And he also tells her, like, hey, like, the other key I tried to show Kenzie and it didn't work. And she was like, she said something about, like, the Eiffel Tower not having any doors. I was like, well, okay. So she was like, it'll let you see anything that you want to see. Any dead person that you want to see. She was like, maybe you should see your dad. She was like, and maybe you should show your mom. And I was like, oh, why does she, like, be so specific in the fact that he should show his mom? I was like, this is about... I was like, don't trust her. Don't trust her. Also in this, we start to see more of her. Like, I didn't think she was a real person. I thought it was maybe like a spirit or something. But we like start to see more of her in this. I was like, okay, so it is like a real lady down in the well. I was like, but how did she get in the well? Like, what's going on? I was like, is she trapped down there by like a spell or something? I don't know. While Ty is at his party having what seems to be a good time, he sees this girl. They have a little bit of chemistry. But of course, her thirsty friend comes in and breaks it up. And she's ready to give any and everything to Tyler. So she's like, oh, like, let me whisper sweet nothings in your ear. So of course, they end up in the room all alone. And they're getting ready to do whatever. But then Tyler sees Sam, like, off to the side. And so Sam had what looked like a wound in his forehead. So I was like, oh, my God. Like, I guess Sam was shot, since we don't really know what happened once Rendell was shot. I was like, oh, so Sam must have been shot somehow after everything happened. So that spooks Ty. And he's like, nope, gotta go. Get up off me. So he gets up and he leaves. Old girl is left sitting in the room wondering, why me? What was wrong with me? Why am I not like the other girls? You know how that goes. So while he's doing that, Kenzie decides that she is going to go to Scott's house with him and his 2 other friends, and they're just like really into some type of director. I guess he's like a director who was like really into like gore and stuff of films, so like they spend their time like watching movies like that. So as they're watching one of the movies, that triggers something for Kenzie, because we see in a flash that she has that her and Bo were hiding in the basement when Sam shot Rendell, and he actually came down the stairs looking for Kenzie. And so she gets up and she's like ready to run up out of there, and Scott comes and he's like, oh, well, what's wrong? And she's just like, you know, well, not all girls are the heroes. Like, some girls just wait and hiding until everything is over with. Basically saying that she kind of feels guilty about the fact that she couldn't save her dad. All she did was hide down in the basement while her dad was being killed. So with this key that Bo has found, he goes to his room and he unlocks some type of 2-way mirror. So he sees his reflection in the mirror, but his reflection like does what it wants to do, but I can already tell like this is a mess. So as he's doing this, he calls his mom. He's like, mom, come and look. So she comes and she's looking in the mirror at her reflection. Her reflection is looking real sinister, like, I will choke you out right now. So I guess Bo was like, wait a minute, something ain't right. He was like, oh no, don't go in the mirror. And she actually goes through the mirror and she's walking in there and she's met by her reflection. But when she puts her hand up to touch her, it shatters all of like the mirrors inside of the mirror. And so she doesn't know which way is which. All she can see is like reflections of herself. So she's like yelling for Bo, like, help me, help me. Bo runs out to the well. And he's telling the lady in the well, like, hey, are you down there? And all of a sudden, she's out of the well, hair cute and fixed in a cute little emerald green dress next to him. And he's like, you lied to me. You said I could see my dad. And she was like, well, no, that's really some, you know, a mirror where you can trap your enemies to die. And he was like, well, I need help. And she's like, oh, I'll help you if you give me the key that'll take you anywhere. So he gives her the key, and of course, she scats and skadoodles on about her business. She's like, sayonara, see you later, this your problem, figure it out on your own. I was like, ooh, honey, trifling. So he grabs a rope, runs back in the house, and he sees Ty and Ken's. So he tells them mom is in the mirror, and they're like, here you go again, telling lies. He's like, I'm not lying, like, y'all come with me now. So they go upstairs, and Tyler steps in front of the mirror, and they can actually hear their mom yelling from inside the mirror. And they tie a rope around Ty, and he goes in to find his mom. And he can see her, but he can't really get to her. And of course, he goes in and does the same thing, and he breaks the mirrors with his hands. So he can hear like his mom yelling and screaming, but he has no idea where she is. And off to the side, he sees some bones. So I guess like that clicks for him, like, if we don't get up out of here, we're gonna die. So he has a bright idea. He closes his eyes to like get rid of all the distractions of the mirrors. So when he does that, he's like, mom, just follow the sound of my voice. Close your eyes too. Just follow the sound of my voice. Don't worry about, you know, what you were looking at. So they find each other, and he tells Ken's and Bo, he's like, okay, pull us up out of here before we like some shit go down. So they pull him out or whatever, and they're like freaking out because now they know that Bo was not lying. And they're like, oh my goodness, like, what just happened? What is this house or whatever? And Nina, you are on my suspect list, because when all of that happened and they came out of that mirror, okay, clearly she just almost died or whatever. Let me stop being dramatic. She didn't almost die, but she was clearly, she saw what happened. So they came out, and it's like you could see it on her face, like something clicked in her mind, like she remembered something or something. And then she tried to act like nothing happened. She tried to act like nothing happened. So I was like, oh, she knows something. I don't know what she knows, but she knows something. Like somebody said something that she didn't understand what it meant back then, but she might understand what it means now. They were like, mom, are you crazy? Like, you just saw what happened. She was like, oh yeah, we should keep decorating the house, and oh yeah, I like this mirror, would you want one? They was looking at her like, no ma'am. We end with Sam. I thought Sam was dead because he had the little, but it might have been some blood splatter. Okay, Sam is sitting in a jailhouse, so clearly he went to jail for shooting Rendell. Okay, and one of the cops comes in and he's like, oh, you've got a visitor. Sam's like, okay, I got a visitor. Sam goes out, and guess who is visiting him? None other than the hoe from the whale. She was there. She was like, I told you I was going to come visit you, Sam. And I'm just like, okay, how do y'all know each other if they were in a whole nother, like, city when, clearly Sam was going to the school that Brenda was teaching at? Like, how do y'all know each other? Like, do you know how she was trapped down in the well? Like, I really need to know, like, what is going on. I was like, tell me something. Tell me something. So I need to know who this little Echo lady is. I need to know what Sam knows. And I need to know why Nina is out here pretending like she don't know nothing, because she knows something. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I think this is going to be good. So I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.